Hey YouTubers, it's Ed Martin, the RV camper living with Edward Martin. I just wanted to put another update since I've seen I got some comments on my other videos how the progress is coming along with this Nova, but it's not a lot to look at because it's so dirty. I'm doing other body work in here. I'll get to that then in a second, but not in detail. I don't know if I show you, we got the front end mocked up, the trim on, the bezels on. Got to do it's a fiberglass bumper, so we got the turn signal lights here in the car. I have to make a tab on the inside of the bumper to screw the light to, because it didn't have it because it was fiberglass and they're too wide. They're actually over that way too far, so I'm going to move them over a little bit so when the plug is in, it clears. The plug will be over here right now if the light was in. So I'm going to move the hole over so it over in here because of the angle of the bracket, the bumper bracket, so the plug doesn't hit it and the wires don't wear away eventually. But got it all in primer, and like I said, I was just messing around, blocking some stuff out, blocking the high build down, and got everything fit real nice. Now I only did this with a body file only, and I started blocking down the door and the fender, and then while they're wet is what I look at. And the water coats it on there, a real thin coat of water, so when you look down the stuff you can't see. Now it's not soaking wet because I've got done this. You can see the edges are starting to dry, but when you're spraying the water on this, you let it sag down and smooth out, and you look at your body work. And this is the other wheel well that got put in up in around here and down around, but my body work went all this because all this was smashed in underneath the existing Bondo. So but I started blocking. It's probably hard to see the dark lines and the lighter black. Dark lines is what needs blocked out yet, but I was just like messing around to get an overall view of the quarter panel and my body work only with the air file. I get it close with the air file, and I'm real particular how I put it on. When I do mud, I'll do a softer squeegee, I'll put it on, then I'll swipe this in one swipe. If it don't look right, or if I get a light spot, I'll swipe it again. I'll keep doing it till I get it right in one swipe. It just saves a lot of time sanding. And I only did it with a body file so far, and then I put the high build Timken black on it, and which is 2 parts, but I reduce it because it's like literally like tar to spray. Here's the Tamco. I said Timken, but it's Tamco. Excuse the leaves, but we don't have no leaf flake in this one. But that's what it was, the high build black. But anyways, then there's the activator for it. And the stuff is so thick, like thicker than driveway sealer. It is super thick. Have to reduce it because I only have a 1/8 tip on my spray gun that I use for everything: primer, base coat, clear coat, whatever, sealers. And I don't change it. I don't have one to change, so it is what it is. But anyways, I was blocking some stuff out. Just wanted to show. Got the quarters on, all the body work, because the fenders are so out of whack and my gaps. Yeah, and since my last video, since I'm doing this with a phone, excuse my professional video quality, since I was on here last video, I had all that muck behind the fenders I needed to grind out so I could open the doors. Well, I took the front end off and cleaned it all up, and look how thin and neat I have that. That's actually thinner than the fiberglass originally was. It was so thick up in here the door would rub the fender. That ain't no good. But got all the lines right. My hood's still off. I'm working on my inner wheel wells still. And I actually have the left one starting to mock it up over here. That's my left one. This all gets cut out yet, and that fleece gets wrapped on there, then resined in. I'll get to that later. But my right one's over here. I have it all. Another coat on that outside yet. I have it reinforced here, where I guess the fuel pressure regulator will go. Then this cut out here for my overflow bottle. It's coming along, and I got the back side all done. Not very good lighting. Keeps changing on me. But that's good enough to, I know where it's at, it fits. And then over on the other side of the car is the same way. Just got to block everything. I mean, it's so close with the body file. I had one little low spot here I filled in, and just a skim coat, and primer that up with high build, and then one spot on the hood, and then once that's primered up and that spot on the hood on the top of it, these can be blocked out. But I'm not really going to care about blocking it out a lot right now, because this car is going to go back to the owner to do other, like, transmission work, wiring work, whatever he's doing, fuel system, because it's only a radiator and a motor sitting in the car. That's it, and a seat and the cage, of course. But so this is just a fit job for the front end. And I always like to show off. I wish the hood was on, because I always like to show off the gaps I leave. But the car probably didn't have when it was new, considering this was real tight, and it got real wide to the tip of my finger here, and then back down, and it got wide again back down here. It was, I don't know how somebody possibly ran this front end on this car, which the owner was told this front end was on this car at one time, but I don't see how. It's a piece of shit. So, but that's my favorite thing, taking a piece of shit, excuse my mouth, and making something nice out of it. So that's what I do. Anyways, then all this muck behind these doors are going in behind the fenders. They're all going here. I took the grinder and flap disc and thinned them out for the door clearance. And the gaps are all like nice, like I always keep saying. All this is fit good. I'll put the hood on later once I finish tweaking my fender well around here, the left one. What I did here is, this is the inner side of the wheel well, which is probably hard to explain all this since I didn't finish cutting everything out. It's just material laying on here right now for me to get the rough shape of it. If you can picture this gets cut off around here, around where the brake line, down around the bottom of where the frame is. If you can see that. And back here is where the firewall is. And this here I have, this is just a clear coat on here. This is that area I said, looking at it from the top, where the master cylinder and the brake lines come out, and these concaved in. Well, there you go, it's concaved in. But the reason why I have the clear and the spray can out, see how it's concave down in, so it clears the brake lines. Well, I have the clear out, so when I go to wrap this is on loose. When I go to wrap this, I soak that edge to stick it fast to the cardboard behind it. Cardboard covering a wire frame to give me that contour I want. Then I clear coat this so it holds that contour in shape for when I move it around, and that way it stays. And I soak these edges down and press them down so it more or less saturates the material and glues it to the cardboard for me, you know, once it dries. Then I can resin over all that then that'll be good. Same with the back. The back's already covered, but I cut the back out where that hole is. I don't need that. I need this concaved in on the face, and then I still have my clearance for like right up in here for my wiring harness plug to come out, which is no big deal. That's more than enough clearance for that. And then something else I was starting on here. Rust. Had to get me a shot of my coffee. What this was underneath of this fender well is a 49 Ford front left fender, the upper. The only thing good on it is the top surface and a little bit of the back. That's all been rusted and repaired. Rebar in the corner, and then from here up, they're all rusted. So I cut them apart the other day, a couple days ago, and the owner knows I'll have to get front fenders because the other one's the same way. It's a, you can see by the glare, all them places that putty didn't sand out, it's rust holes back in there going through the other side. And if I had them flipped over, I'd show the Bondo poking through. And down there is the grill. I'm actually going to start on some of these, disassembling the headlights and get the turn signal lights out of the grill. And that's one piece. I can just take the headlight buckets out and start blasting that. There's just more pieces to the front end. All kinds of goodies come with these front ends. All these pieces here go with it. Fender braces right here. There's the main rad support, I guess it is. It bolts to the frame. And then these are the rust pitted like crazy, but I'll restore them because they're so thick of metal. I can clean that up, and if you can probably just imagine how rough that is. Yeah, you can look across it. See how nasty it is. We'll clean it up. Not a big deal. There's another piece of the inner wheel well. This piece here actually goes in here on that one. And there's the front left one. This one's the right front wheel well. But yep, got my hands full on them, cleaning them up. But that's the next project, just get some pieces into the way this is pushed in here. We just had that 30 inches of snow or whatever, and it's all barricaded shut in here. You can kind of see out here where there's a shadow right around there. It's all snow holding me up. I don't feel like digging it out to get this snow out, but while it's sitting here, I'm just going to try to get the fenders, the fender wells, you know, good enough that I know they fit in. And then I'm going to keep them while the car goes back. But I think while it's here, I want to make my hood hinges. I have like a template here I drew up to go in here. I don't know how the best way to show this with just a phone. So I think I'm going to cut this off right here, and it's going to be cut out like this, and back down and around. I might make it a point just to give it a little detail, but maybe not so big. And then cut that line there. This cardboard edge is just the outline of the fender, but I need it down lower because of the thickness of the hood. I made that whole hood that thick. It was only a 1/16 of an inch and a 1/16 of an inch that way, but in here, because as I said before, if you remember, the hood started right here on the edge, and then right back on the very edge, and it actually bowed in to the other point. You know what I mean? I built all this from here out. I did myself. And then if you could picture that, hood bowing in like this, both sides, and then the hood bowed down that bed that it laid down in the cow 1.5 inches, but this hump right here is where I put my round bar, one end to the other, bent it up, and I took the hood used to have a radius on the cow. I straightened them, dressed that edge up so it's thin. Yep. Made everything thicker all the way around. Added on to the ends. But that's where I'm at for now. But I'm thinking about making these hoods so you can lift it up off they're just temporarily in place, those hood pins, put new ones in. So you can, it'll pivot, the pin will lay down. I should draw this in marker so you can see the lines better. The hood pin will lay down in, the hood be on the hood, and it'll lay down in there somehow, somewhere. You got to finish designing this, trial and error, so I make it out of wood first. I want to make it so you can pick the hood up off the pins, slide the hood forward, but that's on a hill, so it picks it up and out, and then it'll drop down just a little bit. That way the point will actually, this is the front of the hood, that way the hood comes up when you pick it up off the pins, slides up and out, then you can tip it. Then you can tip it like that so the front end misses the grill. I just wanted to make it hinge different. But then the reason why this will be cut out up here, so when you pick it up, slide it front, then you can take the hood off. That way if they're at the track, you can lift it up, slide it front so far, pick it up and lay the hood on the ground if they need it completely out of the way. If not, you just prop it up. But then what I'm going to do, off of this section of the fender, I cut out behind here. You can see that right or not? Yeah, kinda. I cut it out behind here so the wheel wells lay back in. They come down on here and lay back in here flat. If not, I would have had to build out around it. I don't feel like doing it. So I'm going to put hot glue something behind here to hold that so it curls up behind here. I could fill it, drill a hole here and fill it with resin and make that pocket solid in there, a solid block for it, so it'll be from here out to here, so it'll be that thick and that wide, as wide as that hump, and fill it with resin. Then on the hood, I'll end up making go get a, I don't know why I like the Ford van prop rods, because they attach to the hood. No, they go on the rear support and stick up to the hood. But I'm going to take a Ford van 89s years, take that prop rod, cut the sheet metal out of the rear support and the hood that has to do with the prop rod only, fiberglass it to the hood, and then make it so you can pull the prop rod off the hood and stick it in the hole in the fender here. I'm going to make solid, so that way if the guy's by himself and you just flip the hood up, slide it front, and then tip it up. I'm going to put it so it's up pretty far, and then put the prop rod in, make it so it hooks, so the wing can't take it either if he's by himself or don't want to take it off. But I'll redraw that template later down the road here so you can see my idea of this, but I don't want to show it too much. I'd rather just show it finished, because it's hard to set up this camera. I don't have nothing to stand it on, so that's why you don't see me in these videos unless I'm spinning around somehow. I don't know where I'm at, so I don't know if you can see me. So And then, like I said in other videos, this don't have a lot to do with RV camper living, but I pull my camper with my van, and I go where I want to go and do what I like to do. Then I'm alive and I'm living, so that's all that matters to me. So, and then have another project coming up down the road. We'll have to, if I ever get around to go see it, because it's not real far, but far enough. It's a friend of mine, I showed him the, he knows about these wheel wells I'm making myself. So he might do that for his 69 Chevelle. So I'll probably have that to help out on. But make his wheel wells for him. But yeah, you can see on these where the high build, why I use it. You can probably see that. You see like them dark lines. They're real black pores. It's where it needs cut down more. And then here where I really cut it with some 220 with that block. See a difference in that? That's why you block this stuff out when you're done, because that I can feel. I don't know if it was a pit in the putty, but that's why. But I think what I'm going to do is I want to block this down good. Talk to the guy and they let me shoot it gray. Then I'll use the black guide coat you buy in the can with the applicator on, because that guide coat does not wash off very easily with just water. You almost have to sand that off. I don't like the spray crap because it gunks up your papers. In my opinion, you might as well just use dollar store black paint if you like gunking your paper up. But we don't use garbage paper. It's all Mirka brand and maybe some 3M, but it's mostly all the Mirka Bulldog, and you don't want to be wasting paper cutting anything that it's going to clog your paper, so you got to throw it away because you can't clean it out. And then same way with this high build, it's got the 2 parts, and with the activator and the primer. And I actually today, since my last video has been, I guess, a couple weeks, has been the last time I touched this car. This is the first time that I actually took wet sandpaper to it. And here's the spray bottle I was using, so this is the first time. You can see how gray that is compared to the black where I didn't touch it. But I was going to spray this down one more time just to give you an overall. This is how I like to look at stuff wet. Even though it's water, it'll put the camera up this way so you can see what I'm doing instead of looking at the ground. But when I look at stuff, I like it to be wet with water as I'm sanding it, because I can still see the real black right here and the gray. That's because it needs cut more. And over here is where I stopped, but I want to make it wet so you can see my body work only with a body file, and then some high build on it. But it's not just always that air file that saved my life and gave me a decent straight quarter panel. Because a lot of these old cars you ride around back in the day, you see had body work done, they're wavy and ripply as hell. Well, it's not always that file that gets you straight. It's how particular I'm putting it on. But if you let that water lay a second, I'm telling you, the quarter's coated from here back up in here, the body line, back down into here, a skim coat, because heck, all this up in here was already smashed. We got it out what we could, but it is what it is. Now this is going to be a charcoal black, or I mean a charcoal gray or black car when it's done, so that's why I like to look at them wet. And then you can see the body work stand out more than I did. I know it's hard to see on these phones, but at least there's something behind me to let me see some glares if you have waves in the letters on that cover covering the door opening for now. But it's hard to find any ripple waves in it. I mean, that is the only body file. Buddy of mine's been here checking it out while I'm working on it, so guarantee you that he would vouch for that and tell you on a video on YouTube that is only body file. And can't wait till like the owner of it gets it back, gets some stuff done to it, then when it's ready for primer and paint, then I can put some videos up of that when it's done. Alright, YouTubers, video time's about ready to run out on this video. I have my other phone on me, maybe I'll make another one then. Alright, if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Thank you in advance for any comments, and subscribe to my channel. Alright, thank you.